Hello and welcome back to the Arcane Forge. My name is Josh, and for those of you that couldn't tell, I am a massive fan of Christmas and the holiday season. It's absolutely my favourite time of year. I get to make stuff, I get to give people gifts, and I get to play a lot of very special games of D&D, whole day sessions filled with stuffed cockatrice and dwarven ale. But one of the things that seems to come up all the time around this season is relatives, friends, just about everybody who knows a role player asking, what the heck do you get someone as a gift when their main hobby, the thing that they adore more than anything else, is a game that they play in the group's collective imagination? You don't need exterior stuff for that. Gift giving for role players is really hard, but never fear. I have some suggestions for you if you yourself are looking for a gift for someone, or if someone is looking for a gift for you or a member of your role-playing group. So my first go-to gift when it comes to Christmas and role players is dice. We use absolutely tons of different kinds of dice, and it does depend on what system the role player that you're buying a gift for is using. But if they're a D&D player or the majority of the other role players, they will want some polyhedral dice, and you can never have enough of them. As soon as you get one set, you want to collect as many as you possibly can. And they come in all sorts of different colours and different designs, and they can be made of lots of different materials. So a set of dice for a role player is always going to be received really, really well. My go-to company for this is Kraken Dice. They have a fantastic range of different colours. I'm a big vibrant colour fan, and they have a lot of these kind of like swirling, sometimes glittery, most of the time resin, sometimes gemstone dice that range anywhere between $9 and $80 for a set. It depends entirely on how much money you want to spend on a set of dice. But the $9 sets are absolutely amazing, so don't be put off by thinking that you're getting someone a small gift or a stocking filler. These dice are used all the time, they're a really great gift, and they might work for your office Secret Santa, because they could be within budget. I've made two different kinds of review videos for different dice companies on this YouTube page. The first is for Vertex Dice, which is run by the lovely Schmied, a very, very talented German dice designer who resin casts his own dice with really awesome patterns. And he makes videos about them and stuff like that, so you can see him making them. He's a really personable person. He's good to chat to, is what I'm trying to say. It's a very personal experience, and they're really great dice. The other company is Paladin, who make awesome metal dice. So if you think you've seen a friend of yours playing with lots of plastic dice or resin dice, and you think this would make a really good change for them, this would be a really interesting addition to their collection, get them some metal dice from Paladin. The be-all and end-all of dice, though, has to be Artisan Dice. These guys make some of the most impressive, intricate, amazing handmade dice you will ever find. They're cut from gemstones, they're cut from alligator jawbone, mammoth tusk, interesting grains of wood. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. They are unbelievable. These things are artifacts that will be passed down through the generations. Parents will bequeath these to their children because these are heirlooms. The only downside is that level of handmade craftsmanship and rare materials combined means that these things are astronomically expensive. So if you have a role player that you owe a life debt to, go to Artisan Dice. Otherwise, one of the previous sets of dice makers might be a good choice. Another interesting idea might be game books. For example, in D&D, you only need 3 books to play the game. You need the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Player's Handbook, and the Monster Manual. But if you wanted to expand on all of that, there are a lot of optional books that increase people's ability to play the game, give them new monsters, new playable species to play as, and not everybody has these. So make sure to check, find out subtly, if they have any of these books beforehand. Let's say you're buying for a D&D player, some good places to start are Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, Volo's Guide to Monsters, Tales from the Yawning Portal, or the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. If you're not familiar with any of those terms, and you're buying for somebody else, and those spellings sound like they are going to be terrifying, I'll leave links down in the description below. You might want to commission a fantasy artist to draw their character, or perhaps your whole group. You could have that as a print, which you give every person in your role-playing group, or just for that one special person. Or you could even have that printed on mugs, or t-shirts, or hoodies, or something like that. A memento of someone's adventure, or the character they have conjured up. Maybe you want to do that with the world map that the storyteller, the dungeon master, has come up with, or a particularly memorable moment in one of your campaigns. If they're into role-playing games, they might also be into similar board games. There's a lot of overlap there. If they're a Dungeons & Dragons fan, they might enjoy Lords of Waterdeep, something set in the Dungeons & Dragons expanded universe. Absolutely amazing game where you are essentially in charge of a city, running a guild, and you have to compete against other players to amass the most wealth and the most power in a strange D&D world. If you want something that feels more like D&D though, or another role-playing game, you might want to get them what's called a dungeon crawling board game. Role-playing games, we spend an awful lot of time trawling through dungeons, but an equally large amount of time role-playing and pretending to be our characters. But to make this more accessible to other people, there are board games which are purely about the joy and the fantasy of smashing through dungeons and beating up monsters. They're really thrilling and really exciting, and they keep you one step away from role-playing, which makes them a little bit more accessible for people who don't want to embark on a full RPG. I hope I'm not selling these things short because they are absolutely amazing. Things like Gloomhaven, which is unfortunately quite expensive but really, really good. The Descent, which is far more of a pure dungeon crawling game. Or even the game Dungeon, which was kind of like a precursor to D&D itself. And by the way, if you want to get someone into a role-playing game when they seem a little bit skeptical but they're just on the edge, Dungeon is a terrible, terrible gateway, but it's a wonderful, wonderful game, and they'll be addicted to role-playing games before they know it. Otherwise, if none of these suggestions take your fancy, go to boardgamegeek.com. They have a list of recommended board games that are absolutely brilliant. Things like Time Stories, for example, is another adventure game recommended to me through Board Game Geek, and they are absolutely brilliant. It's a brilliant, brilliant story, which is far more like the kind of overarching campaign kind of feel of a role-playing game. If your friend spends way too much time playing role-playing games and you think you need to get them out into the fresh air or just in a different room, you might want to try getting them tickets, or maybe your whole group, tickets to an escape room. You can even roleplay as your characters when you're in there, if you don't mind some strange looks from the staff. But escape rooms are that same sort of challenge of solving puzzles together, knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses. And it's a really fun experience and a good day out as well, if you want to give them something that they're going to do instead of use. ThinkGeek.com has a fantastic list of goodies that are related to role-playing games and Dungeons & Dragons in specific. They're a shop based in the States, so unfortunately shipping to the UK takes a really long time and is very expensive. However, if you live in the US, or you just find that perfect thing and you have enough time to grab it, then they're a really, really good place. They sell things like bags of holding, something I use on a daily basis, rucksacks that literally fold out and can store way more than they look like they should. They are really, really fun. They sell shirts and waffle irons and keychains and earrings, tons of stuff that has a 20-sided dice logo on it. And anything that has that logo on it is going to be worshipped and adored and loved by your role-playing friend. Yikes. That trilby though. Maybe only if your friend has beard hair around their neck. In a similar vein, a company called Cantrip Candles make wonderful candles, fragrances that simulate the role-playing experience and can be used in-game to give people an extra, like a fourth dimension of experience, while the role-playing DM is describing a scene, perhaps has music on the background. It's doing a really, really good job of setting the scene. They might also light one of these Cantrip candles with a beautifully illustrated map on the top, and suddenly players will be transported into that world, able to smell the world around them that is being conjured by the DM. One of the most lovely gifts that I received as a DM were these lovely little custom Funkopop Miniatures. They're made by a really talented artist called Nick Ganucci. She has an Instagram and an Etsy where you can commission her or see some of the other miniatures that she's been making. But these guys are fantastic. They are actually of the members of our party as their characters. So this was me as my character Wyatt at the time, and she's even gone to the lengths of doing, I used to have quite wild hair. The character has his little bow, he was an arcane trickster, but on the box we have all the other characters in the collection as well. She's gone to amazing lengths to make this absolutely phenomenal. The level of detail is just astounding, and it's really personal as well, and definitely not something that you'd expect. So I hope you find this video useful when you are shopping for someone you need to buy a gift for in this busy holiday period. Hopefully it takes away some of the stress. If you found it useful, please make sure to leave a little like down below. Maybe favourite this video and share it with someone who you think should get you one of these gifts, someone who's really struggling to get a role-playing friend a gift. So if you want to stick around for more tips and help with your role-playing games and learn some interesting lore, I hope you'll subscribe and hit the little bell icon for notifications of when I post more videos. And if you want to get more out of the channel, I have a Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter account, a website, and if you want to support me in a more personal way, I have a Patreon page as well, where I give away a lot of the illustrations that I do on Mondays. I hope I'll see you there. And until next time, no matter what holiday you might be celebrating right now, even if it's a little bit early, I hope you have a fantastic one. Until next time, I'll see you later.